He fronted on you when you saw him?
He did. It was so many years ago though, bro. But
I've had a couple rappers do that to me in the last year.
But I still got a sour taste. I still got a sour taste in my mouth about that. I mean, I'll admit it.
He tried to like little bro you, like
bro,
little boy you.
No. So okay, but the story is funny. The story is actually, I've never actually said this on like the podcast interview. Let me go fix my shirt real quick because I want to
hear that percussion. You know what time it is.
Get rid of some of this weight. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to another episode of the Indie Unplugged. I am your host, B. Vaughan. Got my man, of course,
Brian Onrea in the building.
The one and only.
You understand me?
Brian Onrea.
You here, baby.
Yeah, man. Like I said, we had to take a little hiatus. We had a couple of birthdays and a couple of things happening. You know what I'm saying? Like,
thank God I made it another year, man.
Hey.
Always thankful. Don't take nothing for granted. Don't take any day for granted. Don't take any opportunity for granted. So
for sure,
the fact that we all made it another year, man, is a blessing. Should be celebrated and
man,
should have some gratitude on display.
Gratitude, man. Because this afternoon got some crazy news, man. Crazy news.
Yeah,
and it just shook me up. I was just like, "What?"
Yeah, I found it on your post. That's when I found it.
I found it on Siz's post.
Okay.
And Sis and Hatch, mad close. You know what I'm saying?
Of
Past
course,
20 plus years.
Yeah.
So that's where I saw it.
Okay.
But man, I definitely want to just take a moment to just acknowledge Jay Hatch and just his influence on the independent music community, the independent music space. Dude is a legend. You know what I'm saying? Like in this space, he absolute legend. He, man.
And for the audience watching, Jay Hatch, founder of iStandard. That's how I knew him through.
That's how I knew him through iStandard.
Passed away after a battle with cancer. For over the last few years, we were all pulling for him, and we got the news he passed away today. I don't know when he passed away, but
I think it was yesterday.
The news broke today.
The news broke today.
Just very sad because he definitely played a huge role in connecting a lot of people. For me, even meeting my favorite producers, was a blessing. And I remember going to my first iStandard event back in 2013, just meeting people like my idols who I looked up to, basically. You know what I'm saying? I got to meet a lot of them through iStandard, through his events. I met my brother Willpower, who is like one of my best friends now. I met him at a beat camp, from like Focus to S1 to Denon Porter, and all these people are my homies now, because which is even crazy to say, but just meeting them was a blessing all through iStandard. And I remember in 2013, I was a student at SAE at the time, studying engineering at SAE. And they had a beat camp there. I went to that beat camp there. And then they had one in LA a few months later. And I flew out to LA, bought me a ticket, flew to LA, and I went to that beat camp. And I remember Jay Hatch being like, bro, he's like, you came all the way out here to LA? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to all of them. He's like, I tell you what, you come to New York, it's on me. You get to go for free because you support like that. Yeah. That's just the kind of guy he was.
That's the kind of guy he was.
And of course, I went to the one in New York for free. You know what I'm saying? And, I guess he transitioned out of iStandard into his events that he would do.
Yeah, creative spaces.
Yeah, and I remember being with Will at Bandwidth. We did a lot of events there at Bandwidth. So I think we interviewed him once on the Free Game podcast when he came out with his book. Always a humble, nice dude, but I just know the impact that he made, because from like Organized Noise, meeting them through
808 Mafia.
Yeah, exactly. Just
you name it.
Countless high tech. I mean, a lot of producers, that I looked up to, they were actually able to be touched because of Jay Hatch and iStandard.
Hatch has been very influential. What I loved most about Hatch, man, was he had a big heart for just people, especially the music community. He was no nonsense, man. That's what I loved. That's what I loved about him. Honest, open, and just free, man. Like we had him. You know, the crazy thing is we did an interview with him. That interview, nobody will ever see it because we had what we didn't know. Great interview though. Interview was great, man. We gave him his flowers in the beginning. It was awesome. But when we went to listen to the interview back, there was some echo all throughout the entire interview on Hatch's side. But we didn't hear it in the actual recording.
Got you.
But when we went to go back, man, there was no way to remove it. So Hatch was like, B, look, he said, we'll just do it again. I was like, bet. He was like, I got some things coming up. Let me just clear some stuff out, and then we'll get back to it. We rescheduled it. He had to cancel that. And that was probably about a month ago. And then he was like, bro, I gotta cancel. He said, I gotta do some stuff. Yeah. I'm like, bro, just whenever you're ready, let me know.
Right.
But that's how I know Hatch too is through iStandard. Doing iStandard event, back in St. Louis, back in 2014, 15. I took second place at the iStandard beat battle in St. Louis.
Okay, all right. That's
which got me a spot to come to Atlanta's beat camp for Beast of the Beats. I got smoked though. Yeah. They got me.
Them were always fun. Man.
They got me on that.
Those were always fun.
Yeah, S1 was the judge. Vaughan was the judge. Focus, that was the same night I met Focus. S1. And of course, then I had Focus on a panel that we did. Willpower was on the panel that we did. I met Bink that night. But it was all just those connections that Hatch had. Man, that really messed me up, bro. Like,
but he brought a lot of folks together. I remember just getting in the elevator because they did an event at A3C, I think 2014, 2015. Yeah. And I remember in the elevator was Ninth Wonder and Focus. And I remember I happened to be in the elevator with him. I was like, oh, this is amazing. But that kind of environment where you can actually reach out and touch your heroes and that are behind the scenes. Because nerds like us, or like me, I don't want to call you nerd. Nerds like me who studied the production credits and all that, these are all my heroes, but we didn't have a platform where we could reach out and touch them.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Until, as far as I know, until iStandard, had that platform where you can reach out and touch your heroes on the production side, on the management side, and it was just amazing. It was an amazing concept, and you see more of that now. But as far as I know, he was the first to do that. So,
man,
it's a great loss, man. A great loss, but
great loss.
He'll
man,
be
Hatch,
remembered forever.
Salute you, man. Love you, bro. Like, I had texted him just a couple days ago. Like, and I was like, because Hatch usually he usually responds back, and he didn't respond back. And I was like, okay, cool. Maybe he'll hit me up later. And then I saw the news, and I was like, man. But Hatch, man, great influence. Love Hatch. This is not a plug, but I had the privilege of doing an entire book review of his book. So much wisdom in that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get a chance, you want to learn directly from Hatch, even though he's no longer with us, you can go check that out. That's you get, so much knowledge and wisdom in that book.
Sure.
That shook me up today when I saw that. I was like, wow.
Let's give a moment of silence, man, for our brother J Hatch.
Man.
Now, something I saw, I immediately thought of you being because now that we cool, now that I know you, when I think of St. Louis, I think of you, man. I think of you. You know what I'm saying? With all your little behind the scenes knowledge about
day STL
about all this stuff. I went to St. Louis one time, by the way.
I'll be there next week.
I went there one time, and I made sure I went and got some ribs because I heard they got good ribs there.
They got some good ribs. Yeah.
I went to some rib spots. I tried to Google what were the best rib spots, and I went to one. And got some ribs. I was only there for like a day.
Oh, okay.
But it was during like March Madness, I think. But so I watched some basketball, ate some ribs.
Yeah.
Good ribs too.
Yeah.
Someplace I think near downtown. But anyway, I saw last night at the American Music Awards that Nelly performed, and he brought up a lot of St. Louis artists. He brought up Chingy, Jaquan, who ain't heard of in forever. and most of the St. Lunatics. Well, not most. I think a few St. Lunatics that weren't suing him because they came out later and said that we ain't part of the lawsuit. That's all Ali doing. We're not part of that lawsuit or whatever. But I know I think Murphy Lee and I forgot who else. He had a few members of and they all came up and I was like, what does this mean to St. Louis? So I was like, I was going to ask you that, but you didn't see it.
I didn't even see it. I didn't even know that it was happening. You know what I'm saying?
I know it was happening too. I didn't even know the American Music Awards was even airing.
I had no idea. I saw
it on social media last night.
I mean, what does it mean for St. Louis? I mean, it just shows unity. It shows camaraderie. All right. I mean, when you think about, St. Louis doesn't have a huge hip hop scene, right? There's no music industry in St. Louis. The most famous, there's tons of famous people from St. Louis, but from a hip hop perspective, there's probably nobody bigger than Nelly as a rapper out of St. Louis. And just to be able for him to bring those individuals together and to kind of give them that spotlight. Chinky hadn't been doing music for a long time.
Well, he still performs though.
Yeah,
but he had a controversy for he was booked to perform at a Trump rally or something like that.
Oh yeah,
and they tore him down. He had
they gonna tear him right.
He had to cancel. He's like, look, man, I'm just trying to earn some money.
Right, they're gonna tear him down.
But but he ended up. And I'm like, stand on it. If that's what you gonna get a check.
Right. He's like, yo, this is a job. I'm just here to get a check and do my job.
I hate when folks bully folks out of doing stuff.
And they will.
Like my thing is this: we always talk about on this show as an artist, take your time to develop your stance. But stand on it though, ahead of time.
That's right.
Don't maybe he didn't think it through. How could you not know they were going to attack you for doing it?
You should have known.
So if you either you didn't think it through, or you thought it through and you just kind of punked out. But either way, like even if I don't agree with it, I respect people who stand on what they.
It seems like it's a job.
And you're trying to feed your family, so it was like, man, like, and again, if they hire you to do an event, I'm not saying like don't do it, but I mean. If you did it for the Democrats, would that have made it any better? Not to me. They all like. I don't like Democrats or Republicans.
I don't like any of them.
For the record, I'm gonna vote for. I'm gonna vote for. But
right.
You getting the check, bro. Like, especially if you like older rapper who out of demand. Like,
Yeah. And for Chinky, he hadn't been doing music for so many years. When I was in St. Louis and I attended EI by Nelly, right? I was one of their very first students. Chinky was there. He came in and me and my homie sitting there. Now, who's my homie now? And the president of the school came in with Chinky. And so it was me, my homie, Carl Napa, who was the head engineer and the guy who ran EI for Nelly. And Chinky come walking in. We're like, hey, what's good, Chinky? He was like, hey, what's good? And so we sat there, we chopped it up for a little bit. And then I saw Chinky in Guitar Center one day.
Nice.
And I was like, what's up, Chinky? He was like, what's up?
Oh, the little head. I hate the head.
He was like, what's up?
Cool and Dre did that to me.
I'm not going to get into the whole Murphy Lee thing.
Oh.
My son probably, he's like, here we go. I'm not going to get into the Murphy Lee thing.
Okay.
Oh, my gosh. But anyway.
He fronted on you when you saw him?
He did. It was so many years ago, though, bro. But
I've had a couple rappers do that to me in the last year.
But I still got a sour taste. In my mouth about that. I'll admit it.
He tried to like little bro you, like
bro,
little boy you.
No. So okay, but the story is funny. The story is actually, I've never actually said this on like the podcast interview.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna go get my car fixed.
Okay.
Up there by my job in Marietta. There's Pep Boys, right? That's up in Marietta.
Okay.
And so I was like, cool, let me go on lunch. Let me get some tires. I had to do something. And so I go in there. Cool. They say, all right, wait in the back. Okay, cool. I go in the back. There's a dude in there eating, right? Eating some chicken or whatever he's eating. I go sit down. I'm in a suit.
The waiting room?
Yeah, the waiting room. So I'm in a suit and he's sitting over there and I'm like, yo, this dude look mad familiar.
Okay.
I'm like, yo, I done seen this dude before.
Okay.
I guarantee it.
Uh-huh.
I walk up to him like, excuse me, you Murphy Lee, ain't you? He was like, nah, dirty. People just say I look like him. Like, but I'm not Murphy. I know who he is, but I'm not Murphy Lee. I was like, yo, for real, bro. Like, if you ain't Murphy Lee, bro, you could be his like double, bro. Like,
yeah.
And the reason why I know is because I've met Murph a whole bunch. And I'm like, I met Murphy Lee a whole bunch of times.
Okay.
And I ain't seen him in a long time, but I met Murphy. I said, matter of fact, my homie is Murphy Lee's business manager. Like, so I met Murph tons of times.
Okay.
Nah, Dirty, that's not me, bro.
Oh, like you told him all that?
Yes, to his face, bro. To his face, bro. Like straight to his face.
That's
right?
hilarious.
And I'm sitting there thinking like, nah, this is really Murphy Lee, bro. Like I know I've met you a gazillion times. And you and Keywan, like I've met you and Keywan so many times, bro. Like,
and you at Pet Boys, and he fronted on you.
He did. He did.
Boys.
He fronted me on Pet Boys at Pet Boys, right? So then all the cars get fixed. He leave. I leave. I go back to the job. I go back to the job. I'm getting to the elevator, and there's a dude in the that works in my company named Big Will. Big Will is a rapper, or he used to be a rapper. He was on 106 and Park. He did all the freestyles on 106. He was like a lyricist champion on 106 and Park, right? Big Will out of St. Louis. And so Big Will and Murphy Lee got a podcast, or they had a podcast, something about Virgos, because they're all Virgos too.
Okay.
Right? Like Virgos rule the world or something like that.
Okay.
And I get in the elevator and I see Big Will and I'm like, yo, what's good, man? He was like, what's good? And I said, man, you won't believe what happened, bro. He was like, what? I said, I think I saw Murphy Lee at Pet Boys. He was like, yo, that was you? I was like, what you mean that's you? He was like, yo, he said Murph left Pet Boys and came to do the podcast. And when he came to do the podcast, he was like, yo, I met this dude at Pet Boys that was like, yo, you Murphy Lee, right? And I was like, nah, that's not me. He was like, but I knew this dude. I knew he knew me, but I fronted on like I wasn't really Murphy Lee. But he said he gave me hints to say he was Murphy Lee. I was like, okay, whatever.
Well, he didn't want somebody to come in and mob him or something like that?
I don't
like,
know.
Hey, everybody, Murphy Lee is here. And
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so what was so crazy is because I followed their podcast. I went to the podcast and I was like, yo, that was Murph. He got the same clothes on as the dude in Pet Boys. Yeah, he fronted on me. Yeah, he did. So I never spoke to Murph after that. I've seen Murph a couple times since that, because he lives here in Atlanta. Not to put his business out there, but he do live here. And I did see him. I just ain't say nothing to him.
Hey man, look, I got fronted on by a rapper from. I'm not even gonna say the person's name, but a rapper from my.
I'm gonna say that one.
It's a rapper from my hometown that fronted on me
from my
that I saw at the airport in another city. It wasn't Atlanta, another city. It wasn't Detroit either, but I don't even like the guy that much in his music, but I respect he putting on for D-Right. He one of the ones right now that's kind of doing his thing. So I'm like, yo, what up? And he like, what up? Like he looked at me like, I'm like, man, this, and it's like, man. Then I saw Cool and Dre. I'll say their name about a week or two ago at the airport. I got the brush off. Hey, what's up? With the brush off, I'm a legit fan of Cool and Dre, but then I can go on and on. But yeah, I hate. See, that's the thing.
No, go ahead.
That's the thing. You gotta be so confident in yourself. That's the reason why I don't even talk to celebrities when I see them. I see the celebrities all the time at the airport all the time. I don't even talk to jokers because they're just like me. But I was legit fan of Cool and Dre, and this particular rapper. I'm proud of how he represented Detroit, so I thought I would. Man.
Look, that's not even a topic that's on our podcast, but so the question is, what causes that to happen? Why do people who get to a certain level, whatever that level may be, exude behaviors like that?
I mean, like I said, for me, in both cases, the artist did say they said what up, but it was kind of like a little like, I think Cool and Dre, they were in a conversation. It was both of them. They were talking to each other, and I guess they didn't want me to kind of interrupt them, so they kind of like. Cause I was like, yeah, I'm a big fan, and they just kind of cut me. Hey, what's and kind of just kept. It was a brush off, I wasn't gonna ask no picture or nothing like that. I don't know, but I think that that people just be in their own world, man, and they just kind of like, the ego and or maybe they've had a lot of bad experiences with people.
Yeah, that could be true too.
And they got their guard up, like we don't got time for your million questions, so we're gonna because they probably do deal with a lot of a-holes out here. You know what I'm saying? So and the guy from Detroit, I don't know, he was with. We were in a gift store at the airport. So he was by himself at the time. Okay. Maybe he thought we're from Detroit, so as a defense mechanism, we can't be all what I'm saying. People walking up to you because he was walking. He was walking in the store and I was walking out of the store.
Okay.
And I saw him like, oh, what up, though? And he was so maybe it's a defense thing where somebody going to attack me or something like that. He's a street rapper too.
Oh yeah,
street dude. So maybe I don't know, but I know on my end, I look at myself like I'm a superstar too. You know what I'm saying? I look
That's
at
right,
myself
brother.
that I'm just as dope as you. I might not have the accolades that you have yet, but I'm on your level. That's how I look at
That's
it.
right.
So don't you try to, little boy me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like we
don't
on the
try to
same
punk me,
level.
boy.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
and maybe that's my own ego and pride talking.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
You
But
can be confident in yourself, right? There's nothing wrong with a healthy ego. People can have that. You feel great about yourself. You understand your skill set. You know what you bring to the table. You know the things you're capable of, right? Healthy ego is always good to have.
But you never want to little boy people.
You never want to little boy anybody. Yeah, don't punk me though.
I was listening to a
I don't know you.
podcast today. I don't want to say the names, but it was a producer, musician, artist on a podcast today, and y'all could probably figure out if you watch the same podcast that just came out. He was talking about being at the studio with this big producer years ago, and a little kid in the background, and that little kid grew up to be a real big time producer, and he was saying, "Yeah, I'm glad I treated him. I'm glad I wasn't an a-hole to him, you know." And I'm thinking to myself, like, so that means that there's some people you were a-holes to, and
Right.
he just happened to be one that you
Right.
weren't. So, and it's the saying goes, treat everybody right because you never know who somebody's going to be.
You don't.
But I say, even if you meet the janitor and they never go anywhere but being a janitor, you still treat them right because
That's
they're
right.
a human being.
That's right. They're human
You
beings.
treat them. Don't treat people right because he might be something one day. So let me just.
Well, people do that.
You never know. No, treat them right because it's just a human thing to do. Because one day God gonna judge you on it. How about
That's right.
that?
Well, people do that, right? People do that based upon what they feel they can get out of someone, who that person may become in the future. I mean, we live in a big world, but it really is small. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
You gotta, especially when you're in a city that does the same type of thing that you do. In this case, music, right? It's going to be small. Oh, you know that person? Yeah, I know that person too. Or you may see that janitor, and that janitor may be a janitor, and then 5 years from now, they could be the VP of marketing at that record label. And you're like, yo, wait a minute. And it's like, remember you did that thing to me back in the day? You kicked my little mob and made me fall on the ground. Yeah, okay, I remember. Like,
or you just had a bad attitude towards me.
You could have.
You just had a bad attitude.
But people do that, and that's crazy. It was so crazy is that's kind of something that is one of the topics that you put into the podcast episode today.
Yeah. Blocking people out and
yeah, I don't know if you want to skip around, but we could do that. We can start.
Let's jump into
we can
that
start at number 2
because I've had some experience with that, man. So anyway, I was watching the Bag Fuel podcast. Shout out to Bag Fuel, SO and Heineken. I see them on the come up. They show been growing. You know what I'm saying? And they had Bizarre on the podcast. Anyway, they were talking about SO managing these 3 songwriters, and they were and he had Rockwider working on one of Destiny's Child albums. They did 2 songs on the album, and Beyonce, everybody was loving it, saying we're gonna hire you to do the whole album. But apparently, like these 3 writers were like blocking 2 writers were blocking one out of the sessions, like blocking her out, hating on her. And I've been through that. And apparently, what happened, long story short, the one writer who was getting blocked out had a close relationship with Angie Stone, who was close to Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mother. And when they found out about the blockage, everything hit haywire and they lost out on recording the rest of the album. You know, and I still don't know to this day what happened to those other writers, you know. And the lesson was it's a lot of lessons.
It's a lot of lessons
in that, but
a lot of lessons.
I don't know if you all have been through it at home watching this, but people will block you out of situations, you know, because they don't like you or they'll block. And I've been blocked out of opportunities. I was in the writing session one time, and I wasn't even supposed to be there. I just happened to hang out there. I happened to I was doing a podcast, and I just hung out around the studio, and I just ended up in this room. What the people who I did a podcast with was writing a song for this big artist that was coming just the next day.
Oh wow!
And I ended up writing on the song. You know, I ended up writing. We all did it, and I remember this particular person, like, and I never knew what happened with the session. I never heard about it. But long story short, this person, because I was involved with it, ended up blocking the whole thing. Not only did this person block the whole thing from even getting to the artist, but when I found the paperwork, because we used to do split sheets and everything, my name was crossed out of the whole thing. Literally was crossed out.
Wow.
And they don't know I know this, but I found out later, you know what I'm saying? They crossed my name. And I know that the homie didn't do it. The homie that I was in there with, I know he didn't do it, but I know who did do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just one example of I've been blocked a lot of times with little stuff, but that was like something I was excited about, you know what I'm saying? Because it was an artist I loved and I thought the song would have went. It's just crazy.
Yeah, man. That's You know, when I was looking at the question that you posed in here, a lot of stuff came to mind, and especially you asked the question, "Have you ever experienced it?" I don't think I've ever experienced it from a music capacity, right? I've never been in a room where there was tons of writers and they were writing a song, and then somebody was like, they scratched my name out of something, or I was looking to get with a certain artist and they kind of blocked my path to do that. Now, corporate America, that's different, right? Having that experience there, I'm 100% sure that I've experienced it. Me trying to get a certain promotion, me trying to connect with a certain leader, or me taking on a particular project. There have been projects that have been taken and given to other people, knowing that I was the person who initiated it, developed it, implemented it, and it was given to somebody else. And I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right. So I wrote a couple of notes down here that you asked, why do people try to block others out of opportunities? And I think one of the biggest ones is, fear of competition, right? It's like a threat to have somebody who may be talented and gifted in areas that you may be, but they may excel at it exponentially, and it's a threat to you, right? Because we live in a very scarcity mindseted. Is that a word? Mindseted? If it's not, it is today, right? But we live in a very scarcity mindset type of environment, and the music industry is it permeates itself even more from that scarcity mindset. It's like, there's not enough. Brian, if you get some, I can't get any, so I'm going to get some, right? We live in a very, very lose-win mentality, right? It's like you can't have it, but I got to get it. So I'm gonna do whatever it needs to do to block you, so that you don't get it. And this is how the scarcity mindset works itself out, right? I mean, okay, so here we go. Everybody already knows I'm a 7 Habit certified facilitator. I've said it a couple of times.
Yep.
But one of the things we talked about in that class was having the abundance versus scarcity mindset.
For sure.
And in there, we talk about the 6 paradigms of human interaction. And so we talk about how people, when they're going into an interaction, kind of like this, they go into that interaction with certain mindsets already, with certain paradigms of viewpoints or perspectives, right? So they go into that as win-lose, I'm going to win, you're going to lose, or lose-win, you're going to win, I'm going to lose. Like, well, people do think that way. You're going to win, I'm going to lose. We're both going to lose, right? Which is lose-lose. Like, if I go down, bro, if I don't get the opportunity, you're not going to get the opportunity
right.
at all, right? So there's different types of paradigms of human interaction. But I think a lot of it stems itself from, we live in a very scarcity mindset. That's a new word today, a mindset environment. And people just don't like competition. But we have to understand that everybody can eat out here.
Well, that's the point. If you should want to win as a team, because if you're on the team, you're going to get something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
If we are, like, let's say this podcast, gets picked up by whoever, like, if I'm part of it, I got an opportunity to shine.
That's right.
Who cares if I don't get the most words on the episode, or if I don't get the spotlight? If I'm a part of the team, I'm going to be there, and I can use my own opportunity. I can shake something. Just put me near the light, and I'll get my shine. Just put me somewhere near it.
That's right.
So it shouldn't matter. We should all collectively be trying to win. It don't matter whose name goes on the front. It don't matter who gets all the credit. And in that case, it's like, y'all should want the best possible song for Destiny's Child. Y'all should want the best possible songs to bring everybody in. We'll figure out the rest out later. We just need to get these songs on this album. We need that, and we'll sort the rest out later. I might not like you, but look, once we get big, we can go our separate ways. But we got to get this done. So I don't got time to be blocking you out, because I'm trying to win. And
they ultimately didn't. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, and it brings to my other point. As a manager, the manager in this case, I thought that and I don't know if he was being totally honest when he was disclosing, because he had to know they was beefing. He had to know that. You can't play ignorant, because you gotta know, and you gotta handle it.
As a manager, manager has oversight of their team.
Like, where's so and so at? What you mean? Like,
managers have oversight of their teams. There is no way. Okay, as a person who's a manager, a director, right? I can say that now. I'm a director now, right? But as a person who's a director in senior leadership, trust me, I know when there are things happening within my team environment. I know if this person's beefing with that person, I know. I may not know the specifics of why, but I can tell something changed in the dynamics of the team environment, and I can pay attention to it. There are signs that show team dysfunction. I can see it, so I investigate. There is no way that because he said, so I got one main contact, right, who's like your senior person you go to who looks over the entire team. Yeah, that may be the case, but that doesn't mean you don't communicate with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
How could you not know that this other songwriter was not? And once again, and it's because I don't think when we engage in music activities, we treat it like a business. How does it? We have artist managers that don't really know management and how to manage. What does management mean? How do I manage as a leader? If I'm working with a team of producers and songwriters and engineers and artists, how do I manage because here's the thing, they are a team still. So as a manager, you have to understand team dynamics in order to get that team to work well one another. Trust me, I've been on teams where people hated each other. I don't like you. And they never spoke to each other. But when they had to work on a project, they understood that they had to work on this project together.
And what about making sure everybody on your team eat? What about that part? Like, why would you want to leave off one of your songs? And she's dope. That's why you managing her. Why would you want to leave her off?
See, that's the manager's responsibility.
So maybe he was cool with it. And furthermore, again, you never know who somebody's connected to. You never know. True. They probably had no idea that they was connected to Miss Knowles through some kind of way. Yeah. And that firestorm was coming. They probably had no idea.
No idea.
But again, treat everybody right regardless. Because if they did know that, they would have definitely made sure she was in on it and make sure she was the one happy. But just treat people right regardless. Just do the right thing. Because you never know.
And I think for us independents and for those who are watching, it is very paramount that you treat people the right way, but that you understand that it is a business, not just. So when I say, and I think this is what most people think about when they say it's a business. It's just understanding the business side. Oh, I gotta have my split sheets and PROs and all of that stuff, sound exchange and. Got all that stuff. No. I mean, understand actual business. Understand what if you are an if you're an artist or a producer and you got money coming in and money going out and people getting paid, yes, you can have a business manager take care of that. You can hire a CPA to take care of that. But you still got to understand profit and loss, though. You still have to understand expenditures and where your money's going in and out. Like, who's going to oversee that? They can rob you. You can never know. They could rob you because you don't know where the money's when the money's going. I mean, and so I didn't see that episode, so I started watching more and more of the episode. And Bizarre kind of posed that question. He was like, "So, what if you come to me and you ask me what my price is?
Yeah.
And I say 10 grand, but you go out and get 20.
Yeah.
Like, what's up? Like,
oh man,
do I have to tell you? No, like." No, your price is your price, right? You said 10. That's what I'm gonna pay you.
Oh man,
I was like,
that goes on a lot though.
It goes on
even yes, studios. How much it costs for you to book this room? Okay, I'm gonna book this room for $100 an hour. I'm gonna charge some $150 an hour, and just people. I'm sure it's just more than music, but in music especially, people finesse all kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
you got these middlemen who just know people. They're good. They're good with networking, so they can plug people together and collect a little fee in between. And the lack of transparency involved with that, it's just, it's really, it's kind of nasty out here because that kind of stuff happens all the time. It was a good question that he asked about, getting your little backdoor fees,
right,
your little side deals, I'm selling beats on behalf of so-and-so and I'm getting more. And it's like, I think transparency is important.
Transparency is important. Absolutely important.
Yeah, I got my price, but maybe I'm worth more, you know what I'm saying? And like, you sitting here essentially, because actually I am worth that, because if they gave you that much money for what they think is my services, then I am worth that.
Then you are worth
so
that.
So you robbed me, essentially. Right. You're robbing me.
That's how when I saw it, when I heard that, I was like, you're robbing them.
Yeah.
Because yes, their price may have been 10 grand, but you knew if you got 20, then that's what they were actually worth.
And as a manager, you want to maximize that.
You do. But it's kind of like, and that's kind of the perception of why people, artists, producers are hesitant with managers,
or why they leave
or why they
managers.
leave
Because they
managers.
found out I'm making all this money. See, I saw Ray Daniels talk about this, and I want to watch the episode that he did with
Yeah,
you. See,
come
but
out tomorrow.
but Ray Daniels, even when we interviewed him, and I saw in other interviews, he talked about people like they see the manager living good and living well, and like, oh, what you know, and so automatically they're going to go in audit mode. And if you can't provide a clean slate of when I say clean slate, I mean like if you can't show that everything's on up and up, if you got little shady stuff like you charging more than not letting them know, that's going to set them off because they're thinking you robbed me to get that car.
Right.
Now, if you got it honestly, they still might feel that way anyway, because as Ray Daniels said in interviews, that they still might feel like you getting too much. But if you are legitimately stealing and you can't give it a good account, you out of there.
Yeah. I mean, that's where trust and transparency comes in.
You out of there. And because they're going to feel like, man, nah,
like you getting over.
Because they're going to, because like to Ray Daniels' point, they're going to feel like that a little bit anyway. But especially if you really are like taking little side deals and side quests. So
because here's the deal, right? So let's use that example. So if I get 10 grand, but it's worth 20 grand, and then you go get 20 grand, and then you take 10 and you give me 10, in my manager's contract with you, what percentage do I give you? 15%, right? Do I still pay you? Well, let's say it's 15%.
So now you're gonna get.
Do I pay you that 15% out of the 10 grand that I just got?
Oh, that's
knowing that now you got.
Yeah, now if you let me tell you something. Watching this, if you are a manager and you charge more than what you told the artist, and you double back and go get your fee, you are scum.
Scum.
You are scum
of the earth,
and you are just evil, man. And we want to call you out and get rid of you.
Scum of the earth, bro.
You are scum, bro.
That's you should have the best interest of the artist.
Because it's questionable that practice anyway. But if you go back and then
that's predatory practices,
take
bro.
your fee, and the artist is making more than the artist, and they doing the work.
That's right.
Ooh, that's
right.
That is some nasty stuff.
When he said that, they didn't really say that, but that's the next part, right? Is now the manager went out and secured that bag for you, right? They got that money for you for that deal to sell that beat for 20 grand or 10 grand, but they got the 10 grand. But now you still got to pay that manager their managerial fee for securing that deal.
And
right?
You know what? And they probably scared to say something because they don't want you to know they got a 10 grand. So
That's
they got to take this fee.
They're gonna take their managerial fee, which is why you have artists who try to negotiate that fee. Well, you know what? I only going to give you 10% because you may kind of do some shady things that I'm not really aware of. So, and it causes distrust.
Yeah, man, you a scumbag if you already finessing and you taking the fee on top of that and leaving the artist with like.
But you know what's happening, and that's the crazy part. We know what's happening.
Wait, that is the reason why because it's become a topic of conversation of why artists leave their day one managers, right? Because they want to get bigger.
Yep.
But a lot of times it's because either they suspect or they have proof that you've been doing shady stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in your mind, because here's the thing, and this is about life in general. When people are doing something that's not right, and I've been guilty of this before. When we do something that's not right, we would justify it any way we can in our minds of why we're doing it to make ourselves feel better. Mm-hmm. And people would justify shady stuff all the time. So you got to watch these jokers, man. Mm-hmm. They feel like, well, I'm out here working and I sacrifice this, I sacrifice that. That has nothing to do with you being transparent, bro.
Nothing.
If you feel that way, tell the artist up front and let them make a decision where they want to deal with you. Don't just be like, oh, I'm gonna take this little cut. As long as he gets what he want.
As long as he get his stuff, I'm gonna still take my little cut. He ain't gonna ever gotta know about it.
Because the goal should be to increase the fee anyway. When I started, you was getting 10 grand a beat. Now you're getting 50 grand a beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that, I mean, your managerial percentage is based upon whatever it is that you've agreed upon with that artist. And if they selling beats for 50 grand, you're gonna get a nice managerial fee.
People get greedy, man.
But it's greed. That's the thing.
They get greedy and they wonder why. I'm not saying that every artist that leave their day one manager is correct, but a lot of the reasons is because of that.
Because of greed.
You know what I mean?
Greed. And it goes back to having scarcity mindset. And it's like, well, I still got to eat. I still got to get mine. And it's like, yes, you should be doing what's best for all of you because all of you need to win in this situation, regardless of who it may be, right? And that's kind of what I wrote down when you asked that question. I wrote down that people have, and even as the manager, it could be threat to their status. It could be inadequacy or that was the big thing when I heard about the blockage. I'm like, this could be because of inadequacy or jealousy. And I've seen that. I've seen
jealousy is
in
big,
corporate
man.
America, bro, where people are jealous of other people and they say and do things and run to the managers or block opportunities or don't include you on that email or that event and don't invite you or that project you were supposed to work on. They go, I heard a thing today with on the Art of Dialogue and it had Ed Lover on it.
Okay.
And Ed Lover was talking
Come on,
about
son.
Yeah, Ed Lover was talking about how Steve Harvey tried to block Bernie Mac. And when Bernie Mac got the deal for
Ocean's 11?
Ocean 11, and Steve Harvey was like, yeah, he said Bernie told him out of his mouth that Steve Harvey went to do that.
Okay.
And see, that's greed. That's why would you want to block another person's, in this case, another black man's opportunity for achievement because you didn't get that opportunity. And so you want to now, once again, paradigms of human interaction. You want to block him. Once again, now it's win-lose. I gotta win. I don't care if Bernie loses, but I gotta win.
That's the thing, though. If Bernie, my man, if he win, I'm gonna win.
But that's the thing.
If I can get close to the if let's say B, you got stuff going on, right? And I'm jealous of you because they're not calling me. They didn't watch the show, right? They didn't watch the show, and it's like, oh, I want to. That's the Brian I want for the. And I'm mad because they didn't pick this Brian, so I want to hate on you. But no, if you successful and I'm still close to you, I'm gonna get some in the light.
You know it.
So why would I?
I don't know. Once again, scarcity mindset.
But as independents, though, because see, we deal with this a lot as independents because as independents, we gotta stick together.
Yes,
we don't have no overarching organization. No. So let's say,
we don't.
When it comes to corporate structures and they need independent artists and they need referrals and you don't want to refer nobody because you want to keep it a secret. I got this plug to all these corporate gigs and I don't want to share it because I want to keep it to myself. Right. Or I got the plug to maybe some touring or different resources that help independents, but I want to keep it to myself because I'm being selfish. I want to block everybody.
Scarcity.
I want to hold this back when I know that this brother or sister next to me has the same struggles I have with money and all this.
Exactly.
So, but I don't want them to get. They say people want you to do well as long as you ain't doing better than them. Mm-hmm. That's a true statement.
And that is scarcity. That is the scarcity mindset.
Got to get rid of that, man. Share your opportunities. If you got a plug on something, share it with your fellow independent artist or producer.
Right.
Be confident. You got to know that you so dope. Helping them ain't gonna block you because what's meant for you is gonna be for you.
That's right.
You got God on your side and you super dope and you work hard. So I ain't afraid to share nothing because I'm gonna eat regardless.
I'm gonna eat regardless.
I'm me. I'm dope. Can't nothing hold me back.
That's right.
Nothing. So I want you to do well too. So I ain't gonna hold you back. If you get a call from BET, ABC, Revolt, whoever call and want to do something with you, hey, go for it. Brian is the man.
And guess who's gonna be there?
Yeah, look,
I guess it's gonna be right.
I'm confident. I'm gonna be straight.
B gonna be right there.
I'm gonna be straight. So
B is B is Indie Unplugged.
I'm just saying,
Brian
man,
and Brian.
I'm just saying you can't be hating on people, but as independent, so this happens all the time, though.
Yep.
When it comes to referring your homies, you done got a plug on some kind of corporate organization or a corporate agent that can, but you don't want to share. You got a plug with some sync people and you don't want to share because you. Man,
I mean, for the longest time, that's why I didn't like going to conferences and speaking engagements because they never really told you anything. They tell you the basic things you hear all the time. You got to get out there and you got to market yourself. You got to brand. You got to post on social media. You got to do these. But it was. I mean, I heard one person literally say out of their mouth, "Well, we can't give away all the industry secrets."
Yeah,
and she got booed. She literally got booed. At ASCAP, we were at an ASCAP festival. She got booed, and everybody. I know she was like,
deservedly so.
Oh shoot! Everybody booed her.
But this is the flip side, though. B. This is kind of my last little question, though. In that, like, I ran into this problem where you be too nice. Because see, here's the thing, like the whole nice people finish last thing. It's a little bit of truth to that because you don't want to be the person that's spreading all the goodwill all the time. Right. But when it comes to you, they like, it's hard. It's really hard. You got to trust in God because a lot of times people don't have the same heart as you, and you want to be sharing, you want to share opportunities, but if the shoe's on the other foot, they probably wouldn't do it for you because people are just trash. A lot of people are trash, man. Yeah. And you look out for them, you do good for them, but when they come their time, they ain't thinking about you.
Right.
So are you a fool for like being so helping and being so diplomatic and sharing opportunities when you know good and well they wouldn't do it for you? Are you stupid? Are you a fool? And should you don't want to be stupid, right?
Right.
So that's the flip side of this whole thing.
That is the
about
flip side.
Sharing opportunities.
It's tricky. So while we're sitting here saying, yes, be helpful, but also be mindful.
Okay.
Right. Be mindful. I always tell people, be mindful of your resources. Be mindful of you can't just give it to every single person. Now, hey, you got a contact? Sure. Yeah, I'll give it to you. I mean, you don't know the history of that person. You don't know the work ethic of that person. You don't know that person to give out a resource or a contact, to put it in touch with somebody that you know probably that could help them. So it's like, yes, I have the resources, but let me be mindful of how I execute the usage of those resources, right?
Because sometimes people will use your resources and then turn around and try to block you out of the same resources you didn't help them get.
Exactly.
Block you right out of it.
Exactly.
That's some devious stuff. So at what point do you say, I ain't gonna be no fool? I done worked hard to get this contact, and like you didn't do the work I did to get this contact, and like you wouldn't do the same for me because I saw in the past where you didn't do this for me. So is that smart?
And see, I think that's the thing right there. You know, from a historical perspective, what they were like and what they were able to offer, or what they didn't offer. So now the question is, do I provide that?
But do you still be an agent of God though? Because my thing is like, you got to listen to your spirit and what would God want you to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, just because it's like turning the other cheek, right? Just because somebody wouldn't do it for you, because you're working on behalf of God.
Right.
Like if you give money to a homeless person on the street, you don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know what
they're going to do with
it.
But
you know that God is the one who rewards you for that. Right. He says, he who gives to the poor lends to the Lord, right? So really it's between you and God as far as you sharing resources and being a good person. So when I said you got to trust in God, I mean that like you have to like understand that even if that person wouldn't do the same for you, it's cool because this is who I am.
True. And I get that.
And the assumptions that they're qualified. Now, if they're not qualified, I ain't gonna share them with you if you ain't qualified. But if I know that you can get the job done, I'm gonna share because even though I know you wouldn't do it for me, I'm gonna share because I know that God don't like ugly and God has blessed me. I want him to keep blessing me. So I'm gonna share with you.
And maybe through that action, they may have a change of heart and they may share with you.
Probably not.
He said probably not.
Let me tell you, man.
I mean, I've seen that happen though.
Grimy folks out here, man.
But I've seen it happen. I've seen where people have not wanted to share, and then the opportunity presented itself, and then let's say I gave you that opportunity, and it really does change a different person's perspective. I mean, I've seen it firsthand.
I've seen it firsthand. People get the plug and run off with the plug.
I've seen that too.
I've seen that happen and leave you in the dust.
So I've seen both.
Leave you in the dust.
But once again, so how do we as people and independents balance that in a way that we can still guard what we have, still do right by what we have, and not minimize the opportunities that we've been presented with?
I say
that's a tricky thing.
I say you gotta stay prayed up, man, and do God's work. You know what I'm saying? It seems cheesy and corny, but really you gotta trust in God because you gotta know that, listen, God's gonna take care of me no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So I'm gonna do unto others as I want done unto me.
Facts. I agree with that.
If somebody had an opportunity to share with me or a session, or because I know how I felt when that whole and it's funny because this particular song. And my brother that brought me to the session told me, like, hey, man, make sure you put your name on all this stuff because you helped this, you know what I'm saying? So I know it wasn't him.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured, because I never heard nothing about this particular...
Did it ever come out?
No, I don't think it ever even got to the artist.
See?
I don't think... But I know that this person worked with the artist that whole 2 weeks. Like, it was a whole block of period where this person was going every day. And this is one of the songs, but I feel like some kind of way this other person made sure that song didn't get through. And I saw the paperwork where it was a session log, what it was. Well, my name was crossed out of the session log as one of the writers on there.
Tag.
It literally was crossed out. You know what I'm saying? So
wow.
I know how that feels. So I wouldn't dare do that to nobody.
Right.
You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, we talked about this before about people not even wanting you to be in a room. You know what I'm saying? So listen, if you got something to offer, come into the room. Now, if I feel like ain't on top of your stuff and you not qualified, no, you can't come in. But if I know you qualified, bro or sis, you can help this record. Please come in here because we want this record to be undeniable.
Right.
So come in here and be a part of this, and it could change your life. It could change all of our lives.
Change everybody's life.
But don't try to block somebody and cross their name out and all this stuff. Like that's just not cool, man. That ain't cool
at all.
And them kind of folks never win, man, because God don't like ugly.
They don't. They don't. I mean, even Esso said it. He was like, I was that dude one day, and then I was like, not that dude the next day.
Yeah. So it's like, so I just say you gotta have supreme confidence in yourself and in your higher power, or whatever you believe in, whatever your faith system is, have it on 100 because people gonna try you, but you gotta trust in your faith when they try you. So in the end of the day, you can still be cool. Just don't be a fool, but still share opportunities. Don't be afraid to be the nicest person because God will make sure you don't finish last. Not to do spiritual, but actually in this industry, you gotta have some kind of faith.
You gotta have faith. You gotta have some faith in this industry, bro.
Here, like it's crazy
for sure.
So yeah, man. Speaking of crazy, let's talk a little bit about like budgets and about because I saw something that really kind of snapped me to reality a little bit. I saw Muni Long on a podcast talking about
Miss Priscilla Renee. But anyway, Muni Long, yes.
Talking about how much it costs for her to record. And it kind of snapped me into reality a little bit because she's talking about how it's $100 an hour for the studio session, the engineer costs X amount an hour. Then she said mixing a record costs anywhere between $2,500. And that's what's on the high end. I don't know if any engineer costs $10,000 to mix a song. I never heard of that before, even at the highest of heights. But let's just say it costs a few thousand to get a record mixed,
right.
And to my mastering and all this stuff, and then paying for the beat. She said $5,000 to $10,000 enough for a beat. And I thought about and then I saw Dane from the Music Entrepreneurs Club post about this today too.
Right.
He was saying they don't cost nowhere near that much. But I was thinking has our standards lowered? Because you could watch YouTube and learn how to mix a record, right? Literally, I went to SAE, I learned how to engineer. I was never that good at it. You know what I'm saying? I went to, it's free game here, by the way. I went to SAE, I paid $20,000 to get a degree just so I can get into rooms.
Sometimes it's that. Look,
literally, because I wanted to know enough about engineering to get me into rooms. And I met my brother Willpower as an intern engineering. And that lasted 2 days. And I ended up doing something else. But I got into the room. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes you got to do things that may not be the direction that you want to go in to get yourself into that room.
And to this day, I'm still not the best, but I can do it, but I'm not the best at it. But I remember
I can mix.
I was watching tutorials about recording because I've been recording myself lately.
Right.
But I thought about it, just man, am I shortchanging myself by trying to do DIY? Because there's nothing like a professional sounding record. You know what I mean? And maybe I ain't paying $100 an hour, but maybe I should go and pay somebody who does this full time to record me, to get me sounding right, because it's a difference.
Right.
It's a difference. It is. And it's is all this DIY as independence, are we watering down our quality? Or does it matter though? Because some stuff pop that's low quality.
I mean, that's the first question you asked. Does professional recording, mixing, and mastering really matter? Does it really matter?
Because let's face it, $300,000, nobody paying $300,000 to do no record.
No, what independent is paying that much? I mean, and so here's so Muni Long, is she signed? Is she signed to a major record label?
I think she is.
I think she is, right? Yeah. So this is a major record label, and you got to think of the predicament or the circumstances that surround major artists. We're going to give you a certain amount of money to create a stellar body of work that we are going to then distribute all over the world. It has to be at the highest quality, right? So we need the best producers, engineers, writers, whatever the case. It has to sound impeccable. So we're going to give you this large budget. You got to use these producers. I mean, is Muni Long choosing her producers? Probably. I mean, I know she's done a lot of work with Brian, Michael Cox, and Jermaine Dupri, and and stuff like that. Does she get to choose? I mean, as an independent, you can choose whoever you want to work with. But if she's signed, are the record labels dictating what producers she work, because they can have the ability to do that.
A&Rs,
right?
Stuff, yeah.
They can tell you, hey, this is how you have to, scope your record. Here's when that record's due. Right? Everybody know that. Here's when that record's due. I mean, but for her in that situation, in that circumstance, in that environment that she's in, I mean, but also keep in mind, what indie artists aren't. I mean, we don't have recoupment.
Yeah, but we got to compete with them though.
We do got to with that. That's the thing.
You on Spotify,
you competing with them.
They can pick Muni Long, or they can pick your record to listen to. They can do both, but you got to be in that mix.
Dollar short.
You got to be in that. But what I'm saying though is, like, do we shortchange ourselves? Because I think for me, a lot of independents, we lose touch on what professional quality really is. We lose touch of it. You know what I'm saying? We try to get these little beats off YouTube and all, which is cool, but like,
so it depends, right? So
we do 2-track mixes. They mix with 2 tracks instead of getting the stems.
Right.
If
I'm an artist, let's say I'm a brand new artist, right, that wants to make it. I ain't got a lot of money. Where can I still get music from, purchase some type of music, and still put a decent type of sound out, decent type of product out? I have avenues, right? I could go to beat leasing platforms, which there are a few I could go to, and buy a lease beat, $25, knowing that it's then going to be leased to however other many people, right? But here, see, that's the thing people don't really realize.
At least get the stems.
You don't own it.
Right.
You don't own it. So if you purchase that beat, and let's say that beat, you made a dynamic song out of that thing. It goes viral. People hear it. Record labels hear it. They want to pick it up. They want to do something with that.
But it's like 20 other songs.
20 other songs with the same beat. They can't do nothing with it. They're like, yo, everybody else got this beat out here. Like, what are we going to do with this? But can't do anything with it, right? I mean, that's one of the cons of purchasing beats from beat leasing. That's a con of leasing, is that 30 other people may have it.
Yeah.
And you don't own it, right? But I think it goes back to the goals that they have as an artist.
Well, yeah, as far as beat leasing, I'm all in favor of beat leasing, personally. But I think if your goal is to get signed by a major, it might be tricky. But if you're just trying to get independent hustle,
if you're just trying to
independent hustle, beat leases are the thing to go. And I don't care how many people had a beat, because ain't nobody gonna do it like I do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, and as long as I get to retain all the money that's made from it,
it depends.
In terms of like the sale of the master song. Now, publishing, you got to split that with the creator no matter what.
Right.
But as far as me selling and streaming the song, as far as the master recording that I make, as long as all that money come to me, you know what I'm saying? Publishing should be split, because it's your beat.
It's your beat.
I don't have a problem with that.
You better have copywritten. You better have done your due diligence.
Yeah, I don't have
behind the scenes work.
I don't have a problem with that. But I think beat leasing is cool. But even that though, you can lease a beat and still get the stems and get it mixed and mastered, right? You know what I mean?
You got to pay. You got to pay a little higher.
You got to pay a little, but it's still like, you got some amazing producers, man, that let you lease beats with stems and distribute it unlimited for crazy
amounts, crazy
prices.
Right.
So now is the time to really take advantage of that if you're an independent artist.
But here's my thing. My thing is ownership.
But you own the master to the song. The song that you created, you still own that master.
Yeah, that's
true. You own it, and I don't care who rapped on it before. So they don't have your song.
So let's say that now that I have this song, I want to submit this song for sync placement. Can I do that?
Yeah, you can do it. Absolutely. It depends on who you working with.
See, if I own it, I can do whatever I want to do with it.
Well, it depends, because I've signed some lease agreements and I've read through the stuff. You can use it. They just have to get paid off of it along with you.
Yeah,
and that's no.
But if it's exclusive,
as an independent,
I own it 100%, clear free.
But why wouldn't you want to share with the person who created the beat anyway?
Well, I mean, that's where the exclusivity comes in.
But why wouldn't you want to share it though?
No, I don't think it's an issue, a matter of not sharing. If the TV show
want to play the song,
I don't think it's an issue of not sharing it. I think it's an issue of the standards that have been set around exclusivity. And so if an exclusive beat costs me 10 grand and I can own it free and clear.
So you saying that the sync companies and sync directors or producers,
they don't deal with Beatly songs. Period. Zero.
But even still though, I still advocate for it though.
They as soon as they go out and run that search on that song, they're gonna go, how many people got it? 30 people? Nope, we can't use it. Nope. And so that limits your opportunities.
Yeah, but if you at ground zero, you gotta start somewhere.
True.
And I because my thing is I'm not paying for exclusives when I don't even got a fan base.
Right. So that's what I mean by
you got to make it make sense.
That's what I mean by their current goals right now.
But what I'm focusing on is the quality of whatever you're putting out, though, because you got to build. Because if you want to compete with somebody who's spending $300,000 to make,
you got to spend some. You got
to finesse it, but you got to know how to like get your stuff sounding. Like,
let me tell you what. There are people out there that you can build relationships with and contact that can help you achieve that same level of quality without breaking the bank. Like, I got an engineer. I'm not saying his name, right? Because I don't want nobody going back and right. I got an engineer that I put out. If I go make a song right now, I can send it to him. $25 an hour. But that's because I have a relationship with this engineer, right? And this engineer has worked with a lot of people that are up in that level. But I have a personal relationship. He's like, this is your price.
But even still need a budget, though. You need
still need a budget.
It's going to cost you some thousands.
That's right.
As opposed to you, like, trying to go on YouTube and mix it yourself. Because you got artists like Russ, for example. Russ blew up, and he tells you that he learned how to do it all himself.
Right.
And to me, that's a rarity because, he happened to blow up, cool, but, like, how was his song sounding? Were they sounding good sonically?
I don't think so in the beginning.
So that's kind of my point. So like, are we shortchanging ourselves, or am I missing the boat? Should we just still do it yourself? It might not sound that good, but just keep moving forward. But me hearing Muni Long talk about that reminds me of like, you know what? Quality is important because you're competing against these people who spending $300,000. You're competing against these world-class engineers.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Who mix it. So why would you want to try to mix it yourself and you don't know what you're doing?
I'm gonna tell you right now. This podcast right here competes with Bag Fuel, competes with God Show, competes with Joe Budden's podcast, competes with another podcast that I don't know if I want to name or not, but right. It competes on those same levels with those podcasts from a quality perspective, from a informational perspective, right? Which is why we got to set up the lights, the cameras, all this stuff, right? The decor, it has to all look top notch. So when people see it, they go, yo, that's.
But you invested in all this stuff.
But that's not how it looked in the beginning. If you go back, and this is for anybody who knows, if you go back and you look at the very first episode of this podcast, this interview that I did with my man, Murcielago, the Machine Monster, you're going to go, who put that out? That video looked horrible, brother. That video looked trash.
So you saying just get started by any means?
Get started by any means. You can always increase your quality as you go. Like I think that's the big thing is that people, one, like me, I'm a Virgo, we're perfectionists, right? We want things to be, got to be perfect. I don't want to start until I have all the cameras. I don't want to start until I have the decor, the lights, all that, right? Or I don't want to start until I have the NPCs or, build the right relationships with A&Rs and producers. No. If you need to lease a beat off of YouTube, do that in the beginning. Now, once you get a certain level in your career, you may not want to do that. You may now want to seek higher quality music or production, but don't wait to start. By any means necessary, get started right now. Whether that's going to BeatStars or Airbit and getting a lease beat, or whether it's getting a beat off of YouTube. But make sure you understand what the parameters are of using that beat. How many streams can you actually stream up to? Is it unlimited? Is it only to 20 million, 2 million, 10,000? Like, what are the parameters? Is it 50-50? Do I got to give you publishing? Yes, I want to make sure people eat too. But sometimes they don't put that in there. They say it's royalty free. You don't have, it's royalty. So any royalty generated from this, you don't have to pay us. But there's small little stipulations. Well, if you reach this amount, then you got to pay us. And it's like, well, wait a minute, I didn't see that in there because it was the smallest text that you ever saw.
Right.
So you got to pay attention to those. But so as you said, in this era, we've seen many artists blow up off of poorly mixed DIY records. Does that prove you don't need to do it professionally? I think it just reiterates the fact that they just figured it out. And they said, I'm going to do it by any means necessary so that when I get to that position, I can then do it professional, right? I guess it's professionally.
Yeah.
But we got tools today. Like if I want to master a song, let's say I got a song that I got mixed by my engineer, right? And let's say I don't have a mastering guy. I can go right to Lander, put it in Lander, pay my little whatever fee it is that I could pay.
I used Aria before.
Yeah, and it masters it, and it does whatever Mojo it does behind the scene. And I have a professionally mastered song. I don't know how it does it, but it comes out amazing quality.
It's like an algorithm where they look at the frequencies and they
got to.
They kind of like set. It's like a set. I don't know, man. All I'm saying is like we got to be a little mindful of that because quality is important, and sometimes it's okay to like. Of course, you're not gonna be on that level, but think about your mix and your master. Think about that, and think about making sure because there are some people like you can get a hookup with. You can get a hookup with, and maybe if you know somebody, say, you know what, I'm gonna put out a song every month for this next year. So if you can work with me, and I love your work. Maybe we can work something out where I can come to you exclusively for this next year. And can I get a good, you can kind of work something out, but don't just try to like always DIY because sometimes I know in my case, I don't really have time to learn how to. I can't mix. I went to school. I know how to mix, but I got a million things. I'm not
right.
I'd rather somebody who's real dope at it mix it for me, and even record me, even get the best levels. I know the principles of recording, so I know what to look for. But trying to get the best signal and make sure that I sound good and put a little bit of compression going in. All this little stuff, and it's just like,
that's the that's the trade off. Is would I rather pay somebody to do the job that I could do on my own, but I want to spend time doing something else, and then I could take that money and pay someone to do what I don't want to do at this time.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I went to EI by Nelly. The class I attended was mixing. Carl taught me all the glue of mixing and the principles of mixing and all that levels and what plugins to use and how to. He taught us all of that stuff. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to mix, right? So I'm gonna pay somebody to do it.
Yeah.
And is the trade off me coming off some money to pay somebody else so that I know that it's going to be a higher quality than if I try to do it on my own? Yeah, I'm willing to make that trade off. I wanted to have him do it, and then me just do something else.
And like I always say, for me, you want to try to break even. So whenever you put out music, have a plan. Okay, I got to sell this many hard copies. I'm gonna come out with some merch.
That's right.
Do some print on demand merch to go with the song, to go with the album or whatever. And I gotta make X amount of dollars. Just make it make sense, but always try to have some kind of budget. Even if it's a small budget, be mindful of a budget. That's my conclusion of it. You know what I'm saying? Just don't be afraid to spend money. Don't try to just cheapskate your way because people out here are really serious about this stuff. And they really like, and I know artists have blown up, without spending the money. But even then, though, I don't know how many hours Russ took to study mixing. Maybe he took the time to get real good at it.
Maybe.
But I just know I don't got time to get.
I don't got time to do that.
Try to get.
You may not have time to do that.
You know what I mean? Or invest in the plugins and all this.
Well, that's why they got crack versions.
We're not advocating stealing from nobody.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
I'm not advocating that, bro.
But I'm just saying. We know they do. But is that by any means necessary? Look, I'm not advocating anything. What I'm saying is own your stuff if you need to own it, right?
That's funny.
But I mean, I think as we close out this topic, that's the thing, right? Is understanding where they are in their career. If they're a newbie, they're not going to be able to spend that bread on, professionally quality beats and professional mixing and mashing and all that stuff. But there are tools now to help independent artists in that realm, right? You got Easy Mix by Tune Track, who can, you throw it into the thing, it can mix. Logic has a thing built into Logic right now. It's a whole AI mastering thing. I don't even need to send it to Lander. I can do everything in Logic, get it to a certain mix level by now if I want to do that, and then put it in the Logic AI mixing thing, mastering thing, and comes out literally quality mixing, but it's all AI generated mixing algorithms. There are tools that we can use today that we probably didn't have a few years ago when we were in school to go to mixing, that they now have available that can now decrease the amount of money that they're spending in those particular areas. But I think even for Muni Long's situation, because of who she is, the level that she's at, the quality of the demand of music that she's putting out, and the circumstances of her record label deems it to be at that level.
Because even down to stuff like artwork and stuff, you know, like I go on Canva.
I love Canva.
I've managed artists. I had a few artists, and they've put out a lot of songs under me, and I've did all their artwork myself on Canva. I've done all my own artwork, but it's like I'm not no graphic design guy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, what's the standard? Should we have higher standards? It's something to think about. It's something to think about, and there's no right or wrong answer in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But again, you got to develop some kind of standard, you know what I'm saying, and stick to your guns, I think.
Canva's dope. I use Canva for
Canva's dope, yeah.
I create all the graphics for this show in Canva. That logo came out of Canva. Yeah. I create everything in Canva. And that's the beauty of it. Once again, Canva did not exist a couple years ago.
I was watching this show, man. What is the show that I ain't gonna even say it, but he had this girl on there, this business lady, and she was basically clowning people who use Canva, you know.
Why?
Clowning them. And I'm just like,
I probably know the show, but anyway.
She was clowning folks who use Canva. She was some kind of business lady just making millions and all this stuff. And yet I get like she used Canva, crying out. Use Canva. Haha, you know, it's just like,
yeah, there are major organizations that use Canva. Like Canva is now a staple in graphic design.
Yeah, but a lot of graphic designers despise stuff like that because, for example, I have a company called 11 Ways. My original logo, I got two logos. I think I paid like almost $1,000 for the guy to do it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that was and that's the reason why I don't want to let go of it. I paid all that money for it back in 2016. But nowadays, I could do a logo. I'm not saying it be that same quality, but I could do a logo on Canva now.
You could.
You know? I've done logos on Canva before, you know, as compared to spending almost $1,000 for two logos.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That look pretty basic to me. But apparently it's professional standard, though. You know what I'm saying?
Well, from a graphic design perspective, for graphic designers, yeah, they may hate Canva because it has sort of leveled the playing field where you can take a regular, you know, Brian, and I can go in there and create a logo. I don't need to pay you any money now. Oh, this is a really good logo. Let me go and create that. Oh, the Indie Unplugged. That looks dope. That looks great. I don't have to pay somebody to do that because I can go in and just do it on my own. Album covers. You can go in Canva and make album covers. And they got some dope templates in there. Now, that's the other thing, right? Is with graphic designers, you get a one-of-a-kind graphic. In Canva, I've seen other people have some of the other designs. I was like, oh, you got that design. And I could tell, oh, you got that design from Canva.
I always switch it up. I get it, and I
got it from Canva.
I tweak it. I put, you know, I always tweak my designs on there. So
you got that from Canva. Like, I literally have seen other people that came from Canva.
What a podcast covers, you see them same kind all the time. I've seen major podcasts. Oh, yes, that's from Canva.
That's from Canva. That's from Canva. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So it's kind of like beat leasing. Oh, they got that same beat. Well, they got that same logo, that same artwork, that same graphic. But those they're tools. They're tools, and if you have the ability to or time that you want to take to learn those tools, then do it. I mean, you have to assess that. Once again, if I'm in the beginning stages of my career.
But it's like, if that's not your specialty, how good can you get at that, though? You know what I'm saying?
It's going to take you some time. You're going to have to.
Yeah, so it's like, it's almost defeating the purpose. You're supposed to be recording songs, bro. You're supposed to be rapping. You know what I'm saying? You spend hours and hours trying to get, and you might still be mediocre when it's all said and done. So what's the point?
And then but that tells you to go, okay, this is not something that I can DIY. I actually need to go and give it off to somebody because I tried it. And I think that's the thing, is that they have to at least try to see if they're capable of doing it. Like me, I tried mixing. I'm not good at that. So I give it to somebody else to do. Can I make graphics? Yeah, I can make graphics. I know how to go in Canva and tweak it and do all the stuff can I pay somebody to do it? I'm not going to, because it's really easy for me to do it in Canva.
These are all things to think about.
All things to think about.
Based on that Muni Long conversation and I'm interested to see more about what other people think about it because that clip is kind of making its rounds now. So I'm interested to see what people got to say about that. All right, man. Real quick. I thought about you because your boy Lior came up again. your favorite record executive. I don't got a problem with Lior. I like Lior, man, and
I got a problem with Lior based upon that statement that he made. I don't care what y'all need to do, what y'all need to talk about and all that. My family got to eat. So if you need to talk about killing and shooting and murdering each other, then I'm going to let you go and do that as long as my family eats. I'm just like.
But it's okay if a black executive do it, though. It's okay if a black executive do it.
No, it's not okay if any executive do it.
So I'm saying, so why?
Because he made the statement.
Why single out the white boy?
Because he made the statement about it.
At least, I told you, I prefer somebody just say it as opposed to being fake about it.
I get it.
Because Kevin Lyle's right next to him signing T Grizzly and signing whatever, and
that's that's true.
And they profiting and everybody from Diddy to
you're right.
So why are we singling up? But anyway,
Diddy.
Anyway, Lupe told this story before, but he told it again recently with Angela Yee about how Lior basically told him because he was signed to Atlantic, and at one point when Lior left Def Jam, he went to Atlantic, and Lior told Lupe. And Lupe said this on Angela Lee's show, Way Up with Angela Yee, that Lior basically told him, you sign this 360 deal or not sign it, but we're not going to promote your music that much, if you don't sign it 360, because we can eat off everything else.
Right.
And well, you don't know, I haven't said it on this particular show, but I've said it publicly before. I have no problem with a 360 deal at all, period, as long as you structure it right. And if, again, the more leverage you have, the more you can structure your deals in your favor. Right. But I think that, like, if a company invests in you and makes you big, of course they deserve, like, if you're a nobody, you don't have a name, and we make you into this big name, and we invest in you, then we should be able to eat off of, like, your merchandise, because we help you sell that merchandise of your concerts. We help make you the person to be able to get the concert. However, Lupe made a couple good points, though. One thing he said was like, well, when it came to the merch, they don't even know merch. And of course, the 360 deal started in the early 2000s.
All right.
So I'm sure companies got better, but it's like, well, he wasn't the one to start it.
He wasn't. I'm just saying.
I got a long story about that because I tried to get into NYU grad school back then, and that's how I learned what a 360 deal was. I think Paramore was one of the first groups that did the 360 deal. I had to do a whole paper on them about whatever. Long story. The Twilight was big, and Paramore blew up off Twilight.
Yeah.
And they were one of the first artists to sign a 360 deal. Blah blah blah. Then hip hop started doing it, but he was saying that why would I want them to manage my merch when they don't even specialize in merch? It's kind of like the government, like how the government tries to do everything, and they're not specialized in it, but they just the government, so they want to do it.
Yep.
So why would I want y'all to do merch and y'all don't even? It's not what y'all do. It's gonna be mediocre. Well, how come I can't go over here?
You're not an agency,
right, and do that? So he had good points, but I think in general, the 360 deal is getting a bad rap. And I know a lot of independent companies do 360 deals, like small companies, because they feel like if I'm investing in you, I should be able to partner with you on in everything.
Key word
that goes on.
Choice of word, partner.
But I think that the more leverage you have, you can structure your deal to where even though you're sharing parts of the you still have control of your own career. The less leverage you have, the less control you're going to have.
That's true.
So if you're a nobody artist, which, by the way, it's kind of weird because record labels don't sign nobody. They don't sign you unless you kind of big, which is kind of counterproductive.
Right.
But if a record label is signing you and making you into something, why shouldn't they eat off of? Like, for example, most contracts, you don't own your masters when you sign the deal.
That's true.
Because you're nobody. You know what I'm saying?
So you're giving it up.
Whatever that master is, the label's helping you make that. And once you get the leverage, you can get your master at that point. Right. But so that's just how I kind of feel. But I knew it was near and dear to you because of the person it was attacking was Leo. Because if you read the comments, everybody, see, I told you he's a culture vulture. I told you, and it's like y'all are ignorant. Y'all don't even know what y'all talking about.
Right. Because
you ain't gonna go into business with somebody, invest in them, and not eat off of them. You're just not gonna do that.
That's right. I mean, I really don't have a problem with Lior. I have a problem with all of them because all of them take advantage of the culture in that way, whether it's Kevin Liles or Leo Cohen, right? I mean, they are both in a position where they could change the landscape of the message that's being communicated within hip hop.
And go out of business.
And that's the thing, right? And go out of my kids got to eat. So Leo kids got to eat. Kevin Liles kids got to eat. Steven Stout kids got to eat, right? They got to eat. And so we're gonna keep putting this music out there.
But anyway, it's with the people. The people have to demand a different product, man.
And people ain't demand. Well, I think we're gonna see a shift somehow, some way.
I mean, the D1s is out here, the Lecrae's, the Kendrick Lamar, right? So it might be a shift, but don't get it twisted. They are
few. There's many out there.
What I'm saying is that like it's gonna be a shift, but it's gonna always be gangster rap music.
Oh yeah, always. Of course.
But our point is it shouldn't be at the forefront. It should be like more of a balance. It should be like more to hip hop than just sex, murder, and drugs, right?
Well, it should. I mean, this is why when I not to get off topic, but why artists like NWA were and they said that we are telling the stories of what's going on in our neighborhoods. Like you don't see it, so we're bringing it to you through music. Half of these rappers don't even do what they're rapping about. So it's like NWA was living it. I mean, they were really living that type of lifestyle.
They were authentic enough to come from it,
or at least they were in those neighborhoods to come from that to have witnessed that.
Right.
They saw it firsthand. Most of these rappers ain't seeing it firsthand.
They just talking about getting a Draco and shooting and all this. Like
Drake ain't shoot. Drake ain't doing that.
Talking about getting a Draco to gun.
Oh, Draco, yeah.
But even Drake, they're talking about gonna catch a body.
You're not doing that, Drake. You're not catching bodies, bro. Sorry,
you from the suburbs you're not doing that. Of Toronto.
You're not doing that.
A nice Jewish home.
Maybe those rappers that are now big back then they were doing that stuff. I mean, we heard stories about allegedly,
but
selling drugs and doing these criminal activities. But now they're not doing that now.
Well, again, I don't even care if I just care about it being authentic. You don't got to like Rick Ross. Do we think Rick Ross was really the biggest boss when he's working in the jail?
No.
But do I believe he knew what he's talking about and he came from that? Absolutely.
Yeah,
do I believe he has an authority to speak on it? Absolutely.
But, Is he doing that today?
No.
Is he still talking about doing that today? Yeah.
I'd hope. Well, that's the thing.
But he ain't doing it.
These rappers should come out and just be honest. Like, look, this is where I come from.
But he's not doing it.
But I'm not doing this. This is entertainment. But a lot of these kids, man, to your point though, I had a kid, man, that I was trying to manage, man, from Chicago. He was from the far suburbs from Chicago. And he was talking about killing everything moving.
He from
But this kid, I met his mom. He's a good kid from the suburbs, bro. He was black. He wasn't white. He was a black kid. But he was a nerd from the suburbs. But he was killing everything.
Everything you saw.
Everything. His songs, he was killing everybody. And I would be like, bro, like, you're real talented. Because he can rap his butt off. Like, this is talented, but how does this make sense? Like, I want to manage you, but how can we, like...
He from Schaumburg. That's where he's...
it was near Schaumburg.
Right. See,
it was near Schaumburg.
Right. Schaumburg is this.
It was even further than that.
Yeah.
It was even further out than Schaumburg. Like way out.
Yeah, if you live in Schaumburg, you talking about that, you ain't doing that. I've been to Schaumburg a million times.
This
not
kid
what's happening
was
out there.
Further from Schaumburg. And he was talented though. And I was trying to work with him because I'm like, you talented, you dope, but like you gotta kill everything because I know you're not
that's not your lifestyle.
Because my worry was that, bro, when I move you around and you get around these people, they're gonna test you. And if you're not about that, it's gonna be ugly for both of us. Because I'm not
very apparent.
So you gotta like.
Oh, you co-signed this dude, so you saying he lived his life too?
Because my thing is, but then I had rappers from Detroit that were really living it, like literally living that I was managing, and I'm trying to get them to like,
you need
to stop doing that. Like you can rap about it,
in jeopardy.
You can rap about it, but stay off the streets because they're talking about the ops in real life.
In real life,
people getting killed close to them.
I ain't got time for that.
And I'm like, look, y'all got to like come down to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I moved one of them down to Atlanta. To come down to Atlanta. You gotta like stop that.
You gotta stop that.
Get a job.
Get a job, bro.
Like, get a job. Like, but stop doing that street stuff. I'm glad y'all got the authenticity to talk about it, but let's cut that out because it ain't gonna be a long career. Right, and they in and out of jail, and probation, and all this stuff. And then you got this kid over here who's getting straight A's killing everything.
Right, everything.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, this ain't making no sense.
Okay, so back to your original 360 deals bad?
What's your take? I told you my take on it. Okay.
It depends. I do agree that if I am an unknown artist and this label has interest in me, I've generated some type of buzz, they have an interest in me, and they sign me, 360 is probably what you're going to get. It's probably the best deal that is afforded to you at that particular time, because they are about to take you, pretty much nobody, and make you a superstar. That should be their goal. If I'm signing you, I'm going to make you a superstar. So we're going to invest. That was the question I was going to ask. When you say invest into them, what do you mean by invest? Because half of the labels don't even do, or the labels don't even do half of the stuff they used to do for the artist. Now it's just, oh, I'll just give you some money and some distribution. Is that investing? Is that worth a 360 deal when you no longer do a lot of the things that you used to do?
But if you have the leverage, you can negotiate that out.
But if you do have leverage, that's true. So I wrote a couple of notes down of why a lot of people think 360 deals are bad deals. So number one was increased label involvement, right? So labels now being involved in every single thing that you do from that perspective, and having a decision-making authority over what that looks like. I want to do this. No, you can't.
Yeah.
Why not? I want to get this brand deal. No, you can't. Why not?
We got these other people over here.
Right. We got these other people. We want you to, and you're like, well, that's against, it could be against your own principles, morals, whatever the case.
Or we got Rihanna for that, because Rihanna,
we can't mess with that.
Yeah.
So you got to go do this, but I don't want to do that. But too bad.
Okay, we're gonna put you on the shelf for forever.
And then that's the flip side. Well, we're gonna shelf you for the next year. It's like, what the heck? Like Lupe said, we're not gonna promote your album. The other thing I wrote, number two, was control over multiple income streams. And it's like, now you want money from streams and merchandising and touring and all these other things, avenues and brand deals and endorsements, but you have no hand in that at all. Like, yeah, you may be an artist and you help me garner the attention that brought all those brands to me. It's kind of like in that same Bag Fuel, right? That same Bag Fuel episode, they were talking about partnerships, and Heineken was like, okay, so Bizarre, what if I was your manager, and then I got big off of that, and then because I got big off of that, I started managing this other dude. Do you get a piece of that? The SO was like, hell no, you don't get a piece of that, and he gets nothing. And that's the thing, right? It's like, yeah, you may have made me a star in this area, and now because of that, I'm now getting.
If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have opportunities.
And that's how they take it. If it wasn't me, you wouldn't have had that. And so now, I want part of that, because I help you achieve a certain level where you're now attracting those brands to you when you didn't have those opportunities before. So now I should get a percentage of those.
But like in that episode, they talked about what kind of agreement did you have up front. So
that's right.
That's the leverage part. So when you start to manage art, I love the fact that, because I said I wasn't going to manage anybody else anymore unless we can have kind of partnership going on.
Right.
From the gig. Because if I'm building, well, it depends. If you already established, that's one thing. But if you starting at zero, we're partners. We are partners, and that's just what it is.
But see, that's the word you use, partners, right? We're partners in this. Labels don't see, from my perspective, just from my own research, and I don't think labels see them as partners. I see them as.
It depends.
It depends.
Because if you come to them with a buzz already, which nowadays most artists, you have to have a buzz.
You got to have a buzz to even get
kind of
noticed by
because you don't even need them at that point. But anyway, if you got a buzz and you got enough leverage, if there's a bidding war going on for you, now you can come in and say, all right,
that's right.
All right, it's gonna be X, Y, and Z. You know, I'm gonna keep my merch. I'm gonna keep this. Y'all can help whatever. Y'all can help with this, but it ain't gonna be that.
Lupe said that, right? Lupe was like, I want my masters. And they were like, nah. And what did Lupe say? He said his career ended after that.
Yeah.
Because he didn't sign the deal.
Yeah.
And so his career ended. Yeah. I mean, and Lupe had leverage at that point. He was already 2 albums in. And it's like, okay, so now I want the masters for those. Okay, so then we can sign this 360 deal. And it was like, nope. We want 360 deal, and we want to keep this, because they can still eat off of it. And that was my number 3. recoupment issues, right? Yeah. Now, because album sales are low, streamings aren't getting paid a lot of money, right? Which is why now a lot of record companies are in their own, made deals with streaming companies.
But because here's the gag. The gag is just as much money, if not more money, is being made now off overall music industry
overall
than back then. So it's like, where is this money going?
We know where it's going. It ain't going to the artists.
So it's like the money's being made.
It's being made.
And we see the deals behind the scenes with these Spotify and Apple paying hundreds of millions to the labels.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? To license the songs. So, but I'm not anti-record label. I'm not anti-360. I just think you got to know what you're getting into.
That's right.
And you got to know, and maybe on another episode we can talk about streaming because people are for some reason being anti-streaming now, and I don't get that.
Because anti-streaming ain't giving them. I think. Well, we can talk about it. Let's make that a topic for the next. I got some thoughts.
I got a lot of thoughts about that too because I think it's a lot of misinformation and it's a lot of simple.
Right.
People don't understand math a little bit, and this is kind of. But that's another story. But no, I just think if you're, here's the thing. Let's say me and you started a group right now, right? We got no fans, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I might have like maybe 10 fans, I don't know, whatever. But we got very little fans.
Right.
But we got amazing music, right? And somebody wants to sign us, a major label want to sign us, which is very rare because we don't got a buzz. But they just say, y'all so dope. I want to sign y'all. I see potential in y'all. And
they used to do that.
And it's a 360 deal. As long as the terms make sense, I wouldn't have a problem with it because here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think I said this before. No matter what kind of deal you get, you got to leverage that to make it something greater anyway.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So if they're going to make you to a star, nobody can take away your stardom.
True.
When Lupe walked away, Lupe had a fan base.
True.
And Lupe's made great music since then.
Lupe, exactly. I'm saying he was still making music. He's putting out music.
He still had brand deals since
just
then.
Not.
Now maybe he wasn't as big. I mean, maybe he didn't get like the nominations because all that political stuff for the labels, but he still had a career. So once you made the star, once you got a hit record, you can finesse that and leverage that no matter where you go. So if you're gonna make me into a star, okay, I'm with it. But as long as the terms are right and you never know if somebody's gonna shelve you or not. So you got to make sure you got to have stuff in place. Like, okay, if you don't do
stuff
something
in place, like what though?
Deadlines.
Because that's my number 4. But
I don't know the legal terms for this. Maybe we need a lawyer on here. But there's terms whereas if you don't do anything with me in X amount of time, I get to walk away.
We should get a lawyer on here though.
Absolutely. If you don't do something for me in this particular amount of time, then I could walk away. And I might have certain things.
Well, I know in indie contracts we could do that. I don't know if they have them in.
They got them again. I don't want to say definitively, but I'm pretty sure they got that in. Listen, if you got enough leverage, you can get anything in the contract.
You can get if you got leverage, you can put whatever you want in that contract. Trust me, you can put anything in the contract.
But no, let me see. Maybe we can call a few attorneys. And
yeah. We can get
if they want to come on the show.
I know a couple. We can. Haven't spoken to them in a long time, but we could. You probably know more than I do, but we can get them on here.
Because these are some legit questions.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They're like, what should you put in the contract?
Yeah.
To make sure that you can, if they don't do anything with you in like a year or 2 years, what's the standard amount of time? 5 years? That's crazy, right?
It's crazy. How many options? We didn't even get talking about options yet. How many options can they put in the record in a contract?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I don't think 360s are bad. I think you just got to make sure you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And whatever deal you get into, you got to work the deal. Somebody said on a podcast, when you sign a deal, that's when the work starts.
Yep.
You got to work.
I agree that.
Have your own team. Be like Jim Jones and Dipset when they were signed to Rockefeller under Def Jam. They bypassed Rockefeller. They were in the Def Jam offices, getting to know the promotions people, the marketing people, up there every day. Harassing them and talking to them and finding out who's what. And even after they left that deal, they got relationships now because I think who was that said that? Jim Jones. Somebody said just these people. They might want to do something on the side. Okay, I could pay you to promote my work, whatever, as an independent. So,
but that's my number 4 though, right? Because you said it a couple of times, but
okay,
for me, it's having limited freedom. Yeah. So if I get into the label and I sign this 360 deal, yes, the terms got to be right. For a independent artist getting signed, what terms would make the most sense? You're probably not going to have that much leverage. I mean, today you got to have some type of buzz, of course. where you can kind of position some of that. You may not have as much leverage as you probably think. But for me, it's still having that limited freedom because I really can't go out and do what I really want to do. They now control all of it in that 360 deal. What I can, what I can't do, what brands. I mean, they now, because they're going to eat off of that, right? And so in that 360 deal, it's going to be mapped out. The specifics around that. Can I go work, as I was saying earlier, can I go work with that brand? If that brand, I want to work with them, but they may not do that because they may not see the potential in that brand.
But they want to make money too. So
they want to make the most money though.
But it behooves them to blow you up so they can make money, right?
True. Oh, yeah, for sure.
They want to make money. So, not to be naive, but you want to trust that they are going to do what's best, at least for them to make money.
But Lupe gave that example, right? He said I can't remember the name of the record he was talking about, but he was like, they started to push that record back. And he was like, why are they doing that? This record is hot. Like, why are they pushing the record back so that it doesn't go as it is right now? And I just think that's, I don't know if he gave the reason why or not, but I think that's odd. It's because they should have your best interests at heart. They should want to make you a superstar. They should want everybody to win. And they're going to benefit. I mean, if they make you the Beyonce and you're in a 360 deal, trust me, they're making a lot of money. So they should want to make you that type of star.
For sure. Well, again, like we always say, man, do your own research and make your own decision. But again, even on the independent level, small labels are doing 360s now.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's out
I don't think they bad. I just think the predatory practices around them can be.
Know what you're getting into.
Know what you're getting into. We ain't trying to tell you what to do, right? I think that's going to be the slogan. We ain't trying to tell you what to do. We're just giving you things to think about.
Yeah.
As you make this journey.
And make a decision on your own and stand firm. Or be flexible too. A lot of times you learn stuff and say, you know what? Maybe I could change my position on this because maybe that wasn't the best thing for me maybe it was better for me at that time, but now at this time it's better that I change course on that. So don't be afraid to switch up a little bit.
Yeah.
We got St. Louis and Detroit's finest in the building.
St. Louis, Midwest, baby.
The Indie Unplugged, baby.
Right, that's right.
In Atlanta, though.
That's right. In Atlanta.
In Atlanta with it, baby.
The Midwest best, but we in Atlanta.
For sure.
That's right, because they know music. They know music cities. I mean, Detroit is, though.
Motown, man.
Motown is.
At least it was.
I love Motown. I'm a huge Motown fan. So I love their whole model. Maybe I should just I'm going to do a series on just the Motown model of just.
Yeah,
their model was crazy.
They had a good doc on was it Showtime, I think?
Mm-hmm.
It was Showtime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shout out Berry Gordy, man.
Berry Gordy, man.
Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, The Supremes, Diana Ross, Smokey Robinson. Shout out all of them, man. Shout out Detroit.
Shout out to the Elgins.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Elgins. Shout out to all those Jacksons. Shout out to all of them, man. They
definitely a Jackson, man.
Yeah.
Can you feel it? I keep thinking that song.
Yeah, man. But yeah, Motown had the model. Anyway, that's another story
episode
for me to share as we go down. Man, B, I ain't seen you like 2 weeks though, right? Because we had birthdays in between.
Yeah.
You was off on your birthday because I think it was like the 1 week it was your birthday.
Yep.
And then that Monday was my son's birthday. And so now we back. And so
we back, man. Shout out to Florida, man. Prayers for everybody down there dealing with hurricanes in Florida. They had a hurricane at the beach I went to like 2 days after I left. It was when Helen hit the beach. And they got another one, Hurricane Milton, coming this Wednesday.
I got a homie named Milton too.
Man.
He's like, well, I got to be named Milton. Right? I went to, it's so crazy, right? So it's so crazy because a lot of the people that I went to school with, I only keep in touch with them via Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a dude in school that I looked up to. It was real cool. Milton, if you ever hear this, you probably know this already, but it was real cool. I dated his sister, but anyway, but right, he knew it. Super cool. His son was in the Olympics. I think we talked about this, right? His son was in the Olympics, and he won the 4x100. Quincy Hall is his name.
Okay, dope.
And I didn't know that. I was like, yo, that's dope, bro. But and now he got a hurricane that's about to go into Florida.
Evacuate, y'all.
Take care of yourself, man.
Please do.
Take care of yourself. All right, man. Once again, Indie Unplugged.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you being here, my guy.
Appreciate being here, B.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
being here.
Appreciate it. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace out.